So I'm here with my boys. My boys. I have Jayden to my far left and Zach Readus right here in the middle of the screen. Both of these guys were part of the first ever national post grad team in the state of Alabama, which was a program I started now 2 years ago called DSA. And these two guys are two that trusted me to, take them to that next level. When everybody thought it was a crazy idea, but these two definitely bought in. So we're gonna start off with these two. First athletic interview that I've done on the Serial Dreamer podcast. We're gonna talk about basically their start, how they got started with basketball, and where they hope to go with it. Now they're now going into their second, third year of college. Wait, Zach's going to his third year academically, second year athletically, and Jayden, your second year on both, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll start with Jayden. Tell me when you started playing basketball.
I probably started playing basketball at the age of 8, around third grade. It was just something to do, something fun. Everybody was doing it, so I was like, and I was taller than all the other kids, so I was like, why not? Everybody's telling me to, so I was just start hooping.
I was just about to ask you, were you taller than everybody, even back then?
Yeah, definitely was.
And Zach, when did you start?
I started playing when I was 5 years old. I started because of my dad, and then my brother he played, and then so it was kind of just one of those things where we were outside shooting on the hoop, and then that's kind of where I got my love for it.
What's up? All right, so from that, did you both know at that early age that you wanted to play at the next level, like high school, college, so forth?
No, not at that age. It was just fun. I didn't really start taking it serious till maybe about eighth grade when my coach, my high school coach, he coached me all through elementary school too. Coach Melvin Allen, he gave me the belief that I could really, do this for real. And so that's when I started taking it serious.
Makes sense. What about you, Zach?
Yeah, I didn't start taking it serious until high school. So for me, I would play NPRA and stuff like that, but like going to college, that was never a thought, like he said, until I met my first real trainer. His name was David Smart.
Yeah.
He was kind of the person that kind of showed me like you can take this serious if this is something you really want to do. So
All right. You said NPRA. For those who aren't from Harvest, Alabama, what is NPRA?
this is rec ball.
Reg ball. So is that like a league?
Yeah, it's the local league where I'm from.
Okay. All right. So let's move on to high school. Jayden, you went to Oakwood. Were you at Oakwood all 4 years for high school?
Yeah, born and raised at Oakwood all 4 years. Yep.
And Zach, you were at Sparkman all 4 years.
All 4 years.
All right. So Oakwood is a classification 1A, correct?
Yep.
Sparkman is on the opposite side of that spectrum. It's all the way at the very top in the 7A class. So big difference in as far as size goes. So let's talk about your experiences in high school. So Jayden, for you, what would you classify your experience as far as your high school career?
I would say early on it was playing, schools our level, we were, running through them, playing good until people actually saw that, we could actually compete with some of the bigger schools. So around junior, senior year, we started playing, bigger schools where I started seeing guys my height, bigger and taller than I was.
Yeah.
And I would say that definitely helped in my development, seeing other guys my height, my weight, and seeing what I could do. So it was it was good. It was hard, but I think it you know built me to the person that I am now.
Yeah.
Everybody was always talking down on us for being a small school, and you know our goal was just to prove all them wrong.
Yeah, they actually put you guys on the radar. That's actually how I found you. You were playing against Huntsville.
Oh yeah,
And it was the first time I ever seen an Oakwood game. Was y'all played against Huntsville, and I don't even know what made me go to the game. To be honest with you, I don't know what made us go, but I was like, "Who is this cat? Like he's actually pretty good. Why is he at Oakwood?" But yeah, it was a pretty good game. That put you on the radar for sure. I think if you would have played that type of schedule earlier on, you probably would have got on some college schedules or college radars a lot earlier. For sure.
That was
for
around the
sure.
same time when I heard about Jay Nez too.
Yeah.
He played Huntsville that game.
Yeah. Everybody was talking about you. We were like, who's that dude? For you, how would you describe your high school experience?
Um, um, from a team standpoint, like we were always good,
Yeah.
so winning was never like in the equation. That was kind of just expected. But from a personal standpoint, for like my career, I guess you could say, he said high school career, so yeah,
Yeah.
my career, uh, it taught me a lot about how to stick with things and just trust that God has a purpose and a plan for me.
Yeah.
I'll just leave it at that. To
Yeah.
be honest.
So I'll make, since you want to go around the elephant in the room. The reason I say that is because, like I said, I want to make sure that you guys, because where you are right now is not something that you guys shouldn't be proud of. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know the statistics, you know how many kids don't go to the next level and play, especially just out of that city alone. You know how many guys are at the rec right now, at my age, still trying to beat up on 17-year-olds. So it's not something that you guys should not be proud of as far as where you've been and then where you are now and where you're trying to go after this. And you two are, like I said, different classifications, but two completely different sides of the spectrum when it came to how your high school career went for you. And then you both ended up with me. And that goes to show, just kind of like you said, God always has a plan for you. But until Jayden, until y'all played Huntsville, how many people do you think really knew about who Jayden was? Even with your height and your ability, nobody knew who Jayden was. You
Yeah.
go up there and you play against Caleb, against Huntsville, and you're blocking shots. I think you got a couple. I know one dunk for sure that game, and I think you made Caleb kind of have to guard you. You know, the length of the court, kind of. So you really got people's attention. And so I think if y'all would have ended up winning that game, who knows what would have happened. And so
What?
I met you at Sparkman. On the opposite side of that, I'm looking at Zach as a very talented guard whose pull-up game was, I think, probably the best I've seen in that area. You're able to get to your spot, knock down those mid-range shots, and his defense is absolutely insane. He's a pest. He's annoying, and he
Yes.
guards full court for no reason at all. Like, you could be like, we're in the 2-3 zone, and Zach is down there guarding the ball, but you kind of let him go and do that. And so, with that kind of talent, do you think that you were utilized the way that you should have been in high school?
No. Simply way, no, not really. Really, throughout like my entire career, I feel like I've always kind of been looked down upon. I guess, like I said, with NPRAs and the rec ball, I was never like the best kid out there. I was never like the star, I guess you could say. And then in middle school, I tried out 4 times in all those 3 years, and I didn't make any of those teams.
Right.
So, not great. I finally made the team, and I got on there, and I was the last person off the bench. And so, like I said, God had a plan and purpose, so I had to just keep on going. 10th grade, I feel like I got better during the summer. Came back, and I broke my leg.
Yeah.
I had to have emergency surgery, and then, like I said, I worked hard. Felt like I got better. Well, I knew I had got better.
Yeah.
I did. And then 11th grade, I came back, and they put me on JV as a junior.
Yeah.
Then I had to keep on working. I got better, and I finally made the varsity team. And then, like you guys said, I didn't feel like I was utilized the way it was. But really, through all that, it kind of just showed me that I had to believe in myself. Start to bet on myself and just have confidence, even though I felt like people around me didn't see it. One thing that kept me going was knowing that I had it and I was gonna be okay.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, I had people like you and then my parents in my life to tell me like you're like that. Just reminded me of who I already was and who I already knew I was. So
Yeah. Absolutely. Like Zach's, like your story is a prime example of when it comes to like coaching and when it comes to what people are looking at when it involves the game, as far as the skill set of the game, the positions of the game. People have to know what their role is within a team. You have your stars, and I always use the name Caleb Hope. You know what I'm saying? Like, Caleb Hope is who Caleb Hope is. So you put him in that Buckhorn unit, he's always going to be Caleb Hope. but you have to know what your job is within a team. Even when you're the star of the team, you have to know exactly what your job is, what you do well, what you don't do well, so that you're able to put the right unit together at the same time. And I think that when it comes to kids like Zach, who's a little bit softer spoken, Zach's not gonna tell the coach like, man, you need to put me out there. I need to be on the floor. He's gonna allow his work to speak for him. But then when the coach doesn't see exactly what Zach is doing, like I said, guarding full court when he doesn't have to, poking at the ball, making the best ball handler in the area have trouble getting the ball up the court, those are things you have to really pay attention to. And then you put him with a Jayden who's able to defend the goal as well as come stretch out. The second summer with Jayden we kind of stretch you out a little bit, let you guard more on the guard level. So when you have those type of elements, you have to really play your pieces correct. And I think that it's easy to look at Zach and say, well, he's not this person or he's not this person because you're kind of compare the wrong elements, wrong skill sets. The team that, you had Zach with Sparkman, you look at that team, name me one person who had a dribble pull-up like you have.
I mean, those are my guys, so I got to say all of them.
Nobody had a dribble pull-up. Trey was probably the best three-point shooter I've seen in a long time. Still is. Will, by far, the best at jumping the passing lanes. One of the most thrilling players to watch. He's always going to give you a dunk, always going to give you the clapping, always going to give you those moments. He worked on his game a lot, and he was able to really pull into knocking down shots, and all that kind of stuff later in his career. I think Cam was really good at a lot of different elements. Nobody had those get to the spot, because I don't think I've seen you miss a elbow mid-range as long as I've known you. Even in the games, even when we got to that first summer of playing AAU and we had just you and Red and literally nobody else, and you were in the game, like, you would miss every single shot. But if you get to that elbow, it's going in. It don't matter who's guarding you. It don't matter what's going on. That's a special skill set, to be able to feel for the goal the way that you do. So moving into that senior year, when did you at any point think that after this season's over, I'm done playing basketball after that?
You talking about me or Jayden?
You first.
I got you. It was never a thought. Like for me, it always felt like I was gonna play basketball after the next level, and I didn't really have a reason to believe that. Because like you said, I was not really looked at. I wasn't looked at all coming out of high school or up until that point. So it was never a thought that I wasn't gonna play. I always felt like I was, but I didn't have a reason. But like I was talking about earlier, just God having that plan and that purpose, and putting a passion in my heart to keep on wanting to play is kind of all I needed. So yeah, that's kind of where I was at that point in time.
Yeah. What about you, Jay Ness? Did you at any?
I had a couple schools looking at me, but I don't think they really believed, that I could go as far, as you know, instilled in me that I could, I could really, I could play pro basketball in the future. So that's what. So yeah, you drew that out of me, and so I was like, I had to go to DSA because I want to play for someone who wants me and believes in me, not because I'm tall and I know the fundamentals.
Yeah.
So
You were one of
yeah,
the first coaches that kind of that gave me kind of that you can do it. Like
Yeah.
you encouraged me to go try to succeed instead of trying to, like I said, underutilize me.
Absolutely.
but
So that answers the next question as far as how you ended up at DSA. I think y'all answered that. But I will say, like, I definitely, that first team, I think I put a lot into trying to find, like I said, elements that could work well together. Every piece had to make sense. Like playing chess, everything has to kind of make sense to what you're trying to achieve. And the schedule I was trying to put you guys on, having a national schedule was, it was a little crazy. It was, to think, I'm going to put a team together first year. I don't know hardly any of these guys I ended up with, and we're gonna go out to California and play against SoCal. But you heard the schedule, you heard what I was trying to do, and instead of letting that be a reason for you not to do it, I think that was all the more reason for you guys to be like, let's do it, let's go. And you know how Cali went. Cali actually wasn't a bad experience. We didn't get out there and do what everybody thought we were going to do, which was get 60 piece by everybody. It was, I think, when the West Coast really started to respect not only us as a program, but I think they really started to pay attention to what the post grad situation was out here, in the southeast rather. Because before us, nobody from out here had been out there besides like IMG, I think. So I think y'all did something really crazy with doing that. So during that first year, we had our ups and our our downs. Luckily our downs for that first year was more. I think we had a lot of kids that were working themselves, trying to pay for everything themselves and stuff like that. So we had a lot of just kind of those type of issues, but we made it happen. We went to California. We ended up going to both national tournaments. We went to a lot of. We did a lot that first year. What do you think that year did for you guys as far as your own personal careers and your self confidence? And do you think you became better players during that first year?
For me, for sure, for sure. Outside of just basketball, of course, I feel like I got better as a basketball player, but really just like my mentality and my mindset when I approach things like that, to just have confidence, like you said, my self confidence and things of that nature.
Yeah.
But yeah, coach, you taught me to always give it 100. No matter what I'm doing, even if I'm having a bad offensive game, impact the game in other ways. Don't be one trick pony.
Yeah.
And so I think that first year really did teach me a lot. It changed my mentality from going to like a laid back player to like turning more into a dog. Starting that for me. Always giving 100, no matter if I want to play or not. Never back down from anybody. And just run the floor, run the floor. Everybody always says,
Yeah.
Jayden always runs the floor really well, and I tell them, Coach D told me that we did a whole lot of conditioning.
Yeah.
My goodness, a whole lot of conditioning. So I was like, I was able to do that.
Yeah. So
I just learned.
so that translated so that people don't think that because I'm not the only coach. I know there's coaches. Just speaking of y'all's area, when I think of coaches that really dial into what colleges are looking for as far as what you need to be able to do at that next level. Like you said, the conditioning part of it. You consider it to be, technically a big, being able to run the floor the way that you do. I hope you noticed, like even during that first year, there was not a lot of post players able to get back down the floor with you. You had a lot of moments where you're getting fast breaks. I think you and Jacob had a couple of moments where y'all were able to pass the ball to each other because bigs aren't running like that. They may get up and down the floor, the first few possessions, but after that, it's like, all right, we're gonna slow it down a little bit. But you run the floor the whole time. And Zach, you've been able to guard ball all game long. If Zach is in the game, he's guarding ball, full court. And it's not many guards that are gonna go past him. If they do go past him, he sprints like a madman and gets back in front of him. That skill in itself, being able to sprint in front of your man, get to a certain point, turn around, play defense. Those are things that translate to that next level. Kids don't really practice that stuff, and you guys, I think, have such an elite skill level at those things. That's why I say, like, with Zach, if you would have been utilized a little bit better, Jayden, if you would have been put out there against the Huntsvilles and stuff like that earlier, how that would have looked for you guys as far as, even if you would have still came to DSA, the way that your film package would have looked. Being able to push it to a lot of different school settings and stuff like that. So that I'm glad to hear you guys, talk about those skill sets because that's, I think, a lot of kids need to know that, as a freshman, as a sophomore, to really tone in on those type of things. Like, don't worry about being the main guy. If you're the main guy, it'll show. You know, if you're the main guy, you're going to be the main guy. If you're not the main guy, what else can you do? What do you bring to the table? You know, just now we're talking about, we're going to get into where we are now, and I'll let Jay Nez, you know, talk about where he's at, and then we'll talk about Zach and what we have going on. But I say that because I have coaches right now, and the first thing they ask are, what are your measurable stats? And that's a phrase that I don't think kids even know. You know, oh, well, these are my stats. I can do this, I can do that. You know, I scored this many points. And often you see, especially now with AAU and stuff, you see a kid who had 35 points. And it's like, okay, well, how many rebounds did you have? None. Okay, how many assists did you have? 2. Okay, how many steals did you have? None. All right, well, did you do anything besides, shoot the ball? Because at some point you're going to meet somebody who is either equal in your skill set or better than you in your skill set. So if all you can do is stand in the corner and shoot the ball, what are you going to do when you miss? If you're not rebounding, if you're not defending. So thank you guys for saying that. What you say?
All that adversity definitely taught me how to, like you said, play a role and learn how to make an impact on the game without just scoring.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cause that was your biggest thing. I think when I got you, one thing I had, and like I told your dad, I remember I had a conversation with your dad during that AAU year before we got the Worlds that first year, and I was telling your dad, I was like, what do I do to get him to play? Like, what do I do? And he was like, you have to get on him. And I was like, man. And so, the tricky thing about kids who have been kind of pushed to the back, you have two sides you can land on. Like, I could have yelled at Zach, and Zach would be like, yeah, I'm done. Like, you ain't gonna sit here and yell at me. Like, we ain't gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? Because he hadn't had that before. He had to have a coach, like, pushing him like that. So, I'm like, if I go over that line, I may lose this kid. But if I'm too soft on him, he's never gonna do anything. Like, he's gonna keep doing what he's doing now. And I'm like, I've seen Zach be great. And so I had to literally challenge Zach, like, in front of people at a game, like, to make Zach understand. Like, and I seen the light go off in his eyes at that game. It was I forgot who we were playing, but I think we were in Atlanta. And
Oh yeah, I remember.
and like Zach balled that game.
I was hooping.
He was, but the first few minutes of the game, we were getting mollywhopped. Like, we were getting whooped. And I'm like challenging Zach. And Zach looked at me like, lost your mind. He was like, you going crazy. But I'm like, I know he has it in him. So, to see that light switch flip for him, was a big moment for me. With Jay Nez, same thing. Same kind of pushing, neither one of you kind of pushed back, but I could tell the resistance that both of you had as far as kind of stepping into that role that I was trying to give you guys. Jay Nez, I kept telling you, you got to be stronger. Like, you got to be stronger. Even if you're not physically there yet, you have to go out there and be strong anyway. Like, I know you haven't been in the weight room, but you have to go out there with that 220, and I need you to handle him. And Jay Nez is like, what? So, but, in Oakland, we went to Oakland, California. That was I think, when you really arrived. Like, you went out there and was handling your business against these post players that you could tell were post players born and bred. Like, they were literally eating protein all day. Like, you went out there and you handled your business. And I think from then forward, we then had a standard with both of you guys. I now had a foundation I could stand on. Like, you can't go below this standard. I don't care how you're feeling. I don't care what kind of game you're having. You can't go below this standard. Meaning you can't be weak, Jay Nez. Meaning you can't be unaggressive, Zach Readus. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can't have those moments because I know you can do better. So setting that foundation with you guys, I think also set the tone for the rest of the team as well. And I think that was the biggest thing, like, with people who knew Zach, like when Will came, he transferred back into town, and you had people around who actually knew Zach from high school. To see Zach play at that level is motivating for everybody. Like, how do I slack off if Zach is out here with his ears pent back, guarding everybody? Like, Zach will jump ball no matter who has the ball. He's just everywhere. How do I slack if Jay Nez is hitting stuff against the black backboard, he's dunking, he's yelling? Like we're up by 60, and Jayden is still like ah. So it's like, how do I slack if this is what they're giving us? You guys really set the tone. And I think that first year we had a lot of personalities. We had Brandon Moore, which is one of the biggest personalities I think I've ever encountered as a high school kid. He has the most personality. He's very intimidating, I think, for some coaches to coach because he does have a lot. His mom has a lot of personality too. So we had a lot of different personalities coming into one bucket trying to figure it out. And I think that by the end, we started figuring it out. I think our season just ran short on us. I should have, if we would have went back to Worlds again, I think either team that I took would have won Worlds that second year. So let's talk about now. All right. So we go through DSA first year. You start, kind of getting some college attention. Janez, you end up going with Vol State. What made you go with Vol State initially?
Just their approach and then the way they were going to use me. I thought it was very similar to how you used me, and the coach, he was going to be hard on me, and he was hard on me, trying to push me to get to that next level.
Yeah.
And I just think, like I said, I just want a coach who wants me and wants to play me, and so that drew me there over all the other schools for sure.
Yeah. So Zach, we ended up with Miles for you. We went the JV route, which I'm glad, once again, two different sides of the spectrum. I want to make sure at an early age, guys know their possibilities, know what opportunities are out there. It's not just D1 or bust. And I know a lot of people tell y'all this, they say it, but I feel like it's just words until you get to that point where it's time to be recruited. And now you're like, okay, well, where am I going to go? That's when a lot of different opportunities start coming your way, but you haven't been privy to those opportunities until late in the game. So that's why I try to tell y'all early on, like, be prepared, be open, because you never know, especially with transfer portals, how it is, NILs come into play. It's kind of been setting you guys up for this time of life right now. And now where we're at, it's hard to get into those D1s. Because D1s at this point want a fifth year, 24-year-old father who's got to feed their kids who really want to come in here and grind. Like, what I'm saying? Like, they really want something specific. And they're looking at these other colleges to get it. They're not really looking at the high school level to get players. So it's like, how do we, if they're pulling from all of these smaller programs, all the JUCOs, the NAIAs, the D2s, D3s, if they're pulling all those kids, who's going to go to those schools? And so, even the JV route, allowing you to get into the program, which if it's done correctly, how it should be, that program feeds their JV team with younger players so that they can pull from that JV team and keep feeding. It's like a funnel for that university. It's how it should be ran. But now with everybody transferring, from D1s down to the D2s are now kind of feeding their program with old D1 players who either got hurt or they just didn't get the playing time. So I don't want anybody that's listening or use that, especially, and I told you this from the very beginning, don't feel slighted in a way at all, and don't feel like your route is any less spectacular than someone who ends up going D1 right off the hand, because anytime you get to continue dribbling the ball is absolutely a blessing, because the ball stops dribbling for everybody eventually, and a lot earlier for some than others. So I say all that to say, because I know, like, talking about it, you're probably like, man, well, I played, and I don't want you to say it in a way that isn't as amazing as what it is. I want you to know, like, what you're doing. If little kids come and see you play, they're not going to care if they see you playing JV or they see you playing for Duke. A little kid is going to see somebody that's playing at a level that they're not at, and they're going to appreciate it. You know that from playing at the playground with those kids. When you go out there and dunked on that little goal, that was a local hero for them kids. Like, so, you end up with Miles. So tell me about that that choice? Like, what made you end up with Miles? 'Cause I know we had Miles and we had Spring Hill that you were kind of going back and forth between. What made you end up choosing Miles?
When I first got there, it was kind of like there's a very like tight knit like community in Miles. Like everybody knows each other, everybody's family. So
Oh
that's
yeah.
kind of one of the things that I liked about it. And then with basketball standpoint, the coach in previous years he had won. He was a winner, so that was another thing that drew me towards that.
Okay. So now we're a year later. So Jay Nez, we are now transferring. So let us know, like, where are you transferring to, and what made you come to this decision to decide to transfer from Vol State?
I recently played at Ball State this past year. Uh, I transferred to Walter State, UW, Walter State. I just wanted to take it to the next level because I feel like I'm at that point where where I feel like I can be at that level, that D1 level. I just need the platform and someone to help me get there. And this coach, Coach Nichols, I think is an amazing person. I just met him uh, just only a couple, not too long ago, and I feel like he really believes in me to the same way that Coach D believed in me to get me to that next level. I feel that same kind of connection, instantly where it's almost like a gut feeling, like this is right, do this, and I feel like that school and that it's a prestige program that's known for getting their players somewhere, and so uh, I just bought into the system, I'm excited. I'm ready to work. To help me get to that next level. Because I feel I know I can do it. I don't think I know I can do it. I know. I now know and believe that all what all my coaches were trying to teach me. I know I can get there.
Yeah.
So
All right.
yeah,
And then also Zach, you've decided that you're going to look at other opportunities as well. So I put Zach. I opened his recruitment back up on the recruitment app that we had, and already, Zach has coaches that are hitting. Um, I think Coach Snell. I don't know if you know Coach Snell yet, but I know y'all knows Coach Tim that coached with me with DSA this past season. He's already had people hitting him up as well. So these colleges are still looking, and Zach is gonna land here very soon. I'm pretty sure of it. So Zach, what are you looking for as far as your next step? Like when you go to this next program, what are you looking to for in that program, and what are you looking for in a coach from that program?
One of the main things that I'm looking for in myself is just taking everything I've learned up until this point and utilizing it, in this new, I guess, season. And like you said, with my coaches, I like Jay Nez was talking about. I want somebody similar to you that believes in me and has a plan.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So, all right. So we move into this next phase. I know Jay Nez, you're gonna be up here, um, July 13th,
11th through 13th. Yeah,
13th. So you might need to come on the 10th. We need to get some Vertimax work in.
for sure.
And I feel like Z Reed might as well just make that trip with Jay Nez
hey, I mean, we'll make some shake.
because we need to get some Vertimax work in. Because what I know is people been running from the Vertimax, and we can't keep doing that. What I'm saying? You gotta go back to for which you started. We started with the Vertimax. We gotta keep that part of the regimen. So that's in July, and that's for the All American camp, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So what are you looking for? So tell me this: you go to this All American camp. What if Georgia Tech says we want you?
I mean, it's not a question. I don't think that's the goal, right?
So where we're at now, what I'm getting at is the steps that you guys are taking. Like I said, you have hundreds of different ways that you can make it to your ultimate goal. Do you know what your end goal is? Do you know where you want to be when the end of your basketball career comes? what do you want to be able to say? This is where I stopped at. This is the level that I made it to.
I think for me, I guess I want to say, I got through college and I finished college with my degree. Hopefully, I also have my master's. I'll pay for it, no debt, all that good stuff. And just to say, I played the game with no regrets. Moving to my next phase of life. With my head high, knowing that I handled business and did what I did to take care of me and my family and everybody else who supported me along this journey.
Yeah. Is he read?
Yeah, very, very similar to what Jayden is saying. First things first to get my degree.
Yeah.
Like, I'm graduating before that's happening. And then, like you said, making sure I don't leave anything out there and not leave with any regret. Like he was saying, all the people who supported me in the past and everything like that, I wouldn't want to put that to waste. They saw something in me. So.
Absolutely. So do you guys know anyone personally? You don't have to say their name or anything, but do you know anyone personally that you played with that is no longer playing basketball? You both do. So
A lot,
you said a lot of people.
a lot, yeah,
You know,
Especially a lot of people who could be playing.
yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's a big one right there, Zach. Yeah.
So why do you think they're not playing?
From what I think is that it's a love, like they lost their love for it, for kind of what I see. Like you were saying, like there's a certain way to coach a certain player, and there's just it's just coaches can kind of take your love for the game out of it, and that was one of the main things that I kind of had to focus on is that I'm doing this for me and not for them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah, what Zach said for sure. I know a lot of people who love the loss of the game, and then also not getting like the same opportunities. I've been blessed with good opportunities, but some people just don't get that because where I'm from, it's not a lot of basketball attention that goes there. So me, I was grateful and lucky enough for people like Coach D to find me and put me in the position where I am now. I always say I wouldn't be here without Coach D for sure. I wouldn't even be on this podcast being able to talk. I'd probably just be a regular student right now, 6'8" regular student.
That's wild. so so you guys understand just how blessed for sure, but just special that you are to still be playing. Even no matter what obstacles may come, no matter how many steps it takes to get to that degree, the ultimate goal for you guys is to get that degree. There are opportunities outside of that come after college. It's not always the NBA. There are so many other levels of basketball out there. And I'm gonna make sure that you have those connections when you need them. But the steps that you guys are taking, it may take 100 steps for one person, it may take 5 steps for the other person, but the steps you're taking, like you just said, there's someone who's no longer walking. There's someone that's no longer even taking the journey to get anywhere else. They, for whatever their reason may be, they may have lost their love for the game, or they may, like you said, not have every opportunity that you guys have had, but you're still doing it. You're still going, and I want you to take that with you every single day, no matter what happens with both of your journeys, whatever you encounter, take that with you. Understanding that you could not be playing. You could have stopped after high school. You could have stopped before that. Zach, you could have not came back off the injury. So there's always a way to look at where you've been and use that to motivate yourself to keep going forward because you are still moving forward. Even with any failure that you have, you fail forward and you keep going to that next step, to the next rock, you keep climbing. So with saying that, Jay, what would you say to 14-year-old freshman Jayden Nesbitt?
I would just tell them, keep working hard. That NBA has always been the dream, but there's there's a way more opportunities where you can be making the same amount. Don't listen to all the haters. There's gonna be a lot of people just be like, you're just hype. you got no skill in it. Just keep your head focused, and there's people out there who believe in you and trust you, and they know what you can do in the future. So just keep your head down, stay humble, and handle business. Keep working.
And Z Reed, what would you say to 14-year-old freshman? Wait, you were not a freshman yet, were you? Were you a freshman at 14?
I was no, I was 13.
13-year-old freshman Z Reed, what would you tell him?
13-year-old Zach was completely different. But I guess the main thing I would tell him is to just just keep on sticking with it throughout adversity and everything that happened with it. If you want to be completely honest, I don't think I would do anything differently because of the character and the things that I learned from the situation. But definitely, I would tell him just to keep on sticking with it and trust himself and bet on himself.
Okay, I like that.
That's good.
So, what would both of you give as word of advice to the kids that are coming up right now? The kids that are in your shoes. I know you guys watch high school ball. I know you've seen Sparkman where they are now. I know you keep up with Oakwood. I know your brother just graduated from Oakwood this year, correct?
Yeah.
So, what would you
Yes, sir.
guys tell the kid that is in your shoes right now? The kid that may be at Sparkman or Huntsville or any of those schools that's not getting the playing time, but you know that they're a lot better of a player than what they're being utilized for. And then Jayden, for you, the kid that may have, the height or may have, this natural talent, but people think that they're not any deeper than what that facet is. So you're only height or you're only this or you're only that. What would you say to those kids?
There's going to be a lot of adversity. It's going to be trials and tribulations. Just stick to it. Don't ever give up hope. We can do it from small schools. That goes for anybody that goes to a small school. Just look at me. The road may be longer and harder, but we can do it. There's talent. There's talent at the small schools for sure. There's definitely talent there. And also, put your film out there. Don't be like me, who I don't think I ain't made a single highlight tape in high school. So,
Not at all.
and I didn't put it out there either.
I didn't have no film.
So I remember that conversation you told us when Nate Oates said it looked like we didn't want to play basketball because we ain't had no film. So it was like we can't get seen if there's no film anywhere.
That's real, and I'm glad you said that because, we went to Bama this past summer. I took um, Team Two to Bama, and before your team, I had a summer program with R.J. Johnson and Izzy Miles and all of them. We went to Bama. I took a team down to Troy, and that's where kind of that conversation really began. Is with Nate Oates and Coach Petway, kind of letting the boys know the first thing that most coaches are going to do if they don't know you, they're going to try to find out who you are based off of your online resume. So they go to your social media. If you have nothing on your Instagram, a lot of kids I know that don't post anything at all on their Instagram. And so, if you don't have anything out there, they're going to try to dig until they find, if you're not here, where are you? Because you're somewhere, you're active somewhere. So they'll get somebody to follow you on Snap. They'll find you, and they'll figure out who you are or what you're portraying to be on one side. And if you're trying to be an athlete on the other side, it has to blend some type of way. And so, when I say, film packages, like you don't have to be, there's two spectrums even to that. Have kids who are posting every single day, every single thing they do, they post it. If they go in the gym and do a curl, they're gonna post it on their Instagram. And then you have the other kid that's like, no, I'm gonna wait till December and I'm gonna post the whole mid-season highlight. It has to be looking this kind of way. I need a professional photographer to come and do it. Like you have to, however you post is fine, but you have to show coaches who you want them to see you as. You have the opportunity to introduce yourself over and over again when it comes to your social media. And for a coach like Nate Oates, who has so many connections, he may not be able to utilize you. He may not recruit you to Bama, but if he looks out there and sees 6'7", it's like, okay, well, dang, he has the height, okay, but I can't use him because of these reasons. But you know what? Who can use him is this person here. The first thing they're going to say is send me film on him. oh, well, I don't have any film. I seen them in person, but I don't have any film on them. Now, how are you gonna get the opportunity? Because even if I trust you, I still have a job to do as a coach, and I think that's where the trust or no trust for coaches like myself when it comes to like programs like DSA, you look at me and you're like, well, if he knows Petway, why can't he give me an offer from Petway? It don't work like that. You know what I'm saying? If it worked like that, then I'll have everybody, you know what I'm saying, everybody be D1. But people gotta understand, like, people still have a job to do. I have to keep my job, so I can't just take your word and say, you know what, I'll give him a full ride, he can come up here, and we're gonna see what happens. No, I have to see what he does. I have to see what his film package looks like, what type of work he's putting in. So that has to start early. And, I know a lot of parents do it too. Like, parents will post for their kids earlier on, which is good as long as but I feel like everybody at a young age, 8th grade and up, get an Instagram account. And if your parents think you're too young for one, let them run it. But post yourself out there because coaches are recruiting 6 years earlier than your senior year. Like, they're not recruiting a senior for a Power 4 school. So start early posting, putting yourself out there. Go on Twitter and tag coaches. You can't tag enough coaches. Like, you can tag whoever you want to tag on Twitter. So that's where I would, getting y'all so late. Of course, a post grad, that's what a post grad is for. I mean, of course, if I met y'all earlier on, I could tell y'all, ways to do things, but then I lose my opportunity to get y'all. But ideally, freshman year, you want to already start kind of building that resume. So as a senior, you're ready to be recruited, you're already being recruited. And if you're not, at least you have the resume to put yourself out there to get those last minute spots. Like right now, like with Z Reed, with your film package that you put together, the introduction you gave of yourself, that's perfect. Like, you send that out to a coach, you're telling them about yourself, you're giving them exactly what they're going to bring into their program. If I'm bringing you in, will you hurt or help my program? Will you blend in with my guys? Will you stand out from my guys? Will you lead my guys? Or I have a kid who's kind of going down the bad path right now. Will you come in and follow him? Or will you come in and give me a reason to be able to cut him? Those are the things that coaches are going to look for, when you come into their program. And, I'm glad, with Jayden, as you said, that this coach is going to be pushing you a lot harder. He's going to get you to that next level. You want those things from a coach. If a coach is trying to only be your friend, be your pal, like, the best love is tough love. Like, to be able to push somebody to their next level, you have those days where you're like, man, I'm not going back up there. Like, and I know, like, for y'all used to be like, oh, if we run like this today, man, we're not coming. Like, we're not going to do that. Like, we're not going to do that. A dog aside. Now, what we did to do a dog aside, like, for younger generations, they think running is a punishment. So it's like, why are we doing suicides? Why are we doing this? What do we do? What did we do? What did we do wrong? And that has to be the culture. The running has to be part of the culture so that you're ready for whatever comes next, that next level. You have to stand out. You have to be the next level at your next level. And when you go to this college, Jayden, you have to show them that you're already ready for that next level. And same thing for you, Zach. When you go to your next location, you have to show them exactly why you deserve to be there and why you're going to, if it's a JUCO, why you're going to be out of that JUCO going on to a 4-year program soon. Like, you have to show that instantly, both on the court and off the court. And I know both of you guys have that in you. That's why I put so much into you guys. And that's easy for me to do because you guys have that already. You already had it in you. It's just, for whatever reasons, both of you, like I said, from different sides of the spectrum, but you had your own reasons why you were kind of shelled off a little bit. You were, exactly know your reasons. They never know yours. But that's came out of you guys in a major way. And so I don't want you to retreat from that. I want you to take that and keep going forward. No matter how many no's you may hear, keep going because one yes can literally change your life. And you guys see that. So, you're going to hear no again. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to hear no again. Jayden, you may ask your coach, man, let me run the 2. I think I'm ready to run 2. and he gonna give you that no. But if you want to run the two, then you know what you have to do to be able to get that opportunity. There's work you have to do. I think you asked me during this last summer, like, let me run guard for a little bit, let me run point for a little bit, and I'm like, nah. I'm like, you need to be down there. We're gonna get to that point, but right now, when you're in front of a college coach, you need to show your strengths. I'm not gonna put you out there and let you get ripped 5 times, and then it's like, well, dang, he's not great. So, thank you guys for one trusting me, for coming into that program. Um, like I said, the highs of the program, the lows of the program. You guys know where season 2, went. You know the stories of that. So I have to show that I really appreciate you guys for how hard you worked and how hard you continue to work. And the loyalty that you guys have to the process of, being a great young man. Like, forget basketball, but basketball is a game of skill and talent. To be great young men is about character. And you guys display that all the time. So I appreciate you guys for that. And we gave our last words as far as for the next generation. So now we're gonna end. We're gonna play a little game. It's gonna be a fun game. It's going to take a little bit of thinking. So you have to put your thinking cap on. All right. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna count down from 3, and you're gonna say the first letter at the same time. You're gonna say the first letter that comes to your mind. So when you say those letters, you have to then take those letters and make a word with those letters. And the first person to make a word gets a point. All right. So do you get it?
Yeah.
So
Both the same. One letter each, right?
yeah. So at the same time, you're gonna call out a letter. So if you say W and Jayden says C, and y'all say it at the same time, what's a word that has C in the beginning and W at the end?
Okay.
All right. So Jaynez's letter is going to be the beginning of the word. Zach's letter is going to be the end of the word. All right. So first round, we're going to go to 3. First round, going in 3, 2, 1, go.
M.
Zach didn't even give a word. He didn't give a letter.
I did. I said N.
You
He did.
Okay, so M and N, go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Mon.
Mountain.
Wait. Wait. What did you just say, Jaynez?
I said Mon. I don't know what it means, but I feel like I played Wordle once and it counted as a word.
So, so nobody thought of man
I said mountain.
Oh,
or moon.
oh, that's
I
crazy.
don't know why I wasn't thinking like smaller words.
Thanks.
All right. So what you said mountain?
Yeah, mountain.
Did you say it within 5 seconds though? I don't think you did.
Oh no, I was
He did.
I was definitely like on
You're on track. We'll give you 1 point then. So round 1 goes to Zach. All right. 3,
luck.
2, 1, go.
J.
Jay, what's your letter? What's your letter, Zach?
W.
All right. J and W. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Jew.
You-
I don't got it.
Yeah?
You got it.
All right. It's 1-1. Jew. Somebody thought of jaw?
Oh yeah. Dang.
Yeah. All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
T.
P. You said P2?
No, I said B.
B. P and B. Ooh. All right. 5,
I said T.
4. Huh?
I said T.
T. Oh, T and B. All right. 5, 4.
Tab.
Tab.
You didn't wait to the countdown.
Yeah, we have to say within the.
Wait. Oh, what are we talking about? It's not a countdown. You just say it.
Yeah.
Within the 5 seconds. Yeah. Okay.
Oh man.
Wait, you've been waiting till 5? Okay.
Yeah, I could have been killing. What are we talking about? I could have with the word.
Okay. So let's get 2 more rounds just because Zach says he didn't know what was going on.
No, it's not no.
All right. Say a letter. 3, 2, 1.
S.
S.
All right, S and A. You got 5 seconds. Go. Five.
Salsa.
What? What'd you say?
Salsa.
Oh, yeah.
You see, I'm locked now. I had that one mistake. I'm good now.
All right.
What's the count?
3-1.
I'm feeling LeBron.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Go.
Z.
P.
Z and P. So P's at the beginning, Z's at the end. Going in 5, 4.
Pez.
Who?
Like the Pez dispenser. Like you know what I'm talking about? Pez. The candy. That's a word.
Pez.
Come on, Jayden. Come on. I know I'm going against you, but come on.
All right, he's right. He's right. I know what he's talking about.
Pez.
That's
I ain't gonna do that.
Is that a Huntsville candy?
the little candy with the little head, and you like pull it back in the candy.
Yeah. That's bro. Why?
Oh, that's what those are called.
Yeah, that was gonna leap pool. Come on.
Do you have help over there?
No, I'm just
Cause that was an old school candy. Like, how did you know that?
because I used to eat Pez all the time. I collected them.
That's crazy.
All right, all right. Say it later. 3, 2, 1. Go.
Why?
B.
Oh wow. B and Y. 5.
Boy,
Baby.
boy.
All right, it goes to Zach.
Oh.
Come on. What did I tell you? I'm coming back.
All right, we're tied up. This is a game winner. All right, this is a game winner. Pick a letter. Going in 3, 2, 1. Go.
W.
L.
What did you say, Jayden?
L.
All right. L is the beginning. W is the end. Ready? 5.
Law.
Whoa.
I said first.
Wait, what did you say?
No.
I said law.
Oh,
I said low.
yeah, law.
What? I said it's. Whoa.
I heard Jayden's first.
I definitely said it first. Let's go.
My mic just cut out. My mic just cut out.
What?
That's all it was. 'Cause I can never lose. I can never lose. 'Cause my mic cut. That's all it was.
I understand, but no, that was. Thank y'all for playing that. I found that game on TikTok, and so I wanted to see how it would work with people. Like I said, it's a very easy game. It's just not simple.
Yeah.
All right, so last words, man. What would you like to say to your supporters, as far as really anything, no specific realm, just anything you want to say to your supporters, your family, anybody. Janez?
I just gotta say thank you. It's been a long, hard journey. It's still going on, but just thank you and just keep support. I'm gonna keep on working hard every single day and giving it everything I got. Focusing on my weaknesses as a man and as a basketball player. So just thank you for building me up, and please continue to keep building me up because I still need it.
Yes, sir. And Z Reed?
Just thank you. For real, just thank everybody who's been with me from the beginning up until now, and then everybody who I'm gonna meet. So yeah, and then just continue to just trust God, like I said earlier, know that He has a plan and a purpose for my life, and He wouldn't give me this passion for no reason.
Amen. Yes, I appreciate you, boys. And once again, thank you, truly for, like I said, trusting me. I came to y'all with a very crazy idea, thinking we could go and play in California and go to these national tournaments, and that doing that would get you guys to college, and you guys trusted the process. So, thank you for that. And I will say, I know you guys,
Thank you.
huh?
I said thank you.
Appreciate that.
Of course,
I
yeah.
know,
It's really all you, to be honest.
no,
Mm-hmm.
no, it's y'all. Because I was just about to say, I know you guys, try to give me, credit for kind of believing you guys, but I definitely, and you both know, I haven't told you as much, Jayden, but like, Zach, you know exactly what's happened over this last year, since you guys have went off to the next level, and it hasn't been easy. And so it's been days that I feel like it maybe I shouldn't be doing this, and so, I know y'all noticed, like, on social media and stuff, I kind of took a step back for quite a few months, and I didn't really know what my next step was going to be. You know, when it came to basketball, when it came to recruitment, you know, when it came to the DSA page and stuff like that. So, you know, I appreciate you guys for always kind of leaning back and, you know, giving me those words of motivation, those thank yous, you know, always keeping me kind of in the loop with what you guys have going on. You know, Team One, I definitely would say that you guys are the reason that I'm even still doing this. You know, that I'm even kind of getting that love back for recruitment. You know, just seeing you guys' story, hearing you guys, you know, day to day tell me what's going on. You know, like I said, I just talked to Will. You know, I talk to Red all the time. You know, I see what Jacob has going on. Like, he's doing well down there. So to see you guys take what that program really meant and what it was supposed to stand for and represent that where you are is special. And so I appreciate you guys, and I want you guys to know that you are special and that you're going to go far, but you have to keep going. All right? So I appreciate you guys. This was the Serial Dreamer Podcast. I thank y'all for stopping by. See y'all later.